this occasion of the first of the offerings of the Kathina season festival, these series of gatherings here at Abhayagiri Monastery. I'm extremely happy to be here. It's been 3 years since my last visit, and the first time I've come with Ajahn Amaro as the sole abbot. I helped to start this monastery 25 years ago with Ajahn Amaro and Lumpur Prasanna, who is away today. So it's with a very joyful heart that I find myself coming back to visit. Also, I'm aware on these Kathina days in the past, I would give a Dhamma talk in English, and Lumpur Prasanna would put Pasathai, give a Dhamma Desana Pasathai, the Atamago Pu Pasathai, my Chattara. So Ajahn Amaro will give a Dhamma talk afterwards in Thai for everyone. So this is very joyful for me to come and see the development of the community and how the monastery has been flourishing in these recent years, and also seeing many people gathering together today. Many people I recognize are old friends, Dhamma companions of many, many years, people that I first met here in California even longer ago. I first came in 1990, so that's more than 30 years ago. I first started visiting California, so some people gathered here I knew from even those days, and also some people I'm seeing for the first time today. So very happy to be here amongst Dhamma friends, Dhamma companions, old and new. As in the little announcement that Ajahn Amaro gave about the Kathina, the Buddha said the offering of Kathina cloth, this is the the most beneficial, or the material offering, the Amisa dana, the material offering that brings the highest benefits, the most good karma that can arise from a material offering, comes from the Kathina. So that's a good thing to be part of. I'm sure one of the reasons why many people are very keen to come and gather at the monastery and to participate in this kind of offering, to be an occasion for tambun yayai yaito, make a big tambun, but also it's a good opportunity to get together with your kalyanamit, your good friends, your spiritual companions, and to rejoice in your involvement, your participation, your belonging to the what, being part of a Dhamma family. We have our own biological families, our mothers and fathers, our children, sisters and brothers, but we have the Dhamma family, Sahatamika, the children of the Buddha, which I would say that those who gather around a monastery, draw close to a monastery like what Abhayagiri, we are a Dhamma family. So when we consider the tradition or the practice of making offerings, when we make material offerings, the Pali word for material, not just cloth material, but objects as well, like wood for building buildings, or money to help pay for the different bills, or to help other developments around the monastery. This is called Amisa dana. Amisa means a material or an object. Amisa dana, and then the offering of flowers, beautiful flower arrangements that Apple and many other friends have helped put together for this occasion. This is called Amisa Pooja, or a puja, a gesture of veneration, of dedication, of gratitude, devotion. Sadha, Vandana, demonstrated by candles, flowers, incense, and these beautiful offerings that have been put together today. Also behind us here we have lots of lovely flower offerings and beautiful arrangements. So these are called Amisa Puja, or material gestures of devotion and reverence, paying respects, sedeng kwam karo, the kind of to demonstrate gratitude and appreciation. But the Buddha also spoke about a different kind of puja, a different kind of offering, and that is called the Patipati Puja, the offering of our practice of the teaching. And he spoke about that. The Lord Buddha spoke of this Patipati Puja as being a kind of more refined or more beneficial kind of puja than the material offerings of candles, flowers, incense, and material support for the sangha, for the monastery. When the Lord Buddha was just about to pass away in Kusinara, it was a full moon night, Visakha. He was 80 years old. His life in the human realm was coming to a close, and in the forest that night, it was an amazing sight. Ananda was with the Buddha, and he said, "Oh, this is amazing! All the trees have burst into flower. It's not their season, but the flowers have come out on the sala trees, and you can hear the sound of the devata." Ajahn Amaro was talking about different kinds of devatas. So as the Lord Buddha was lying there under the sala trees in Kusinara, you could hear the sound of the Gandharvas, the Deva musicians, playing their celestial music, and then also heavenly flowers, the Mandarava flowers, came floating down from the heavens, and many people gathered around, or many Devas and Brahmas, and Venerable Ananda Pra'anon said, "This is amazing, this is incredible, this is wonderful. Never before has the Lord Buddha, the Tathagata, been so venerated, so honored, so respected. You know, the Gandharvas are playing their music, the Mandarava flowers are raining down. This is amazing, this is incredible." And the Lord Buddha then said to Venerable Ananda, as he often did, "Well, yes, Ananda, but." "Yes, Ananda, never before has there been such gestures, such a demonstration of devotion and gratitude and reverence for the Tathagata as is demonstrated now. But if you really want to demonstrate your reverence and your appreciation, your gratitude towards the Tathagata, then the way to do that is to practice the Eightfold Path, to Pratipadham, to practice the Dhamma. That's how you most fully and completely demonstrate your appreciation, your gratitude. It's rather like when we were at school, as school children. You know, we might try to please the teacher by bringing the teacher a bunch of flowers, or bringing an apple for the teacher, making a nice birthday card for the teacher on the teacher's day. But what really makes a teacher happy is if the students are learning the lessons. There's probably a few teachers here going, yes, that the students actually listen to what the teacher is saying and they remember it and use it. That's what really makes a teacher happy. So I feel this is very useful, helpful advice for us when we gather together to celebrate an occasion like this, the Kathina festival, after this rains retreat here at Abhayagiri Monastery. The first rains retreat we had here was in 1996, so this is the 25th rains here. This is the silver anniversary of Abhayagiri Monastery, the 25th rains, the silver rains. Had some substantial rain in the last couple of days. I got soaking wet yesterday, enjoying the rains of Abhayagiri. So that practice of the Dhamma and giving ourselves to say, living according to the Sila, the Sinha, the 5 precepts, and to use the teachings to train our mind, because this is the most wonderful inheritance we have, the most, say, helpful guidance from the Lord Buddha is that we can train our minds. This is amazing. We can we can train our minds, we can work with our minds to see differently, to feel differently, to think differently. And there are many different aspects to this, but I would say one of the most direct and helpful ways to work with our mind is how we relate to our moods, our arom, the emotions that we have. The emotions of liking or disliking, happiness, unhappiness, comfort, discomfort, chop, my chop. All of the different moods that we feel, the arom, the aramanas, that when we like something, we call it good. When we dislike something, we call it bad. But the teaching of the Buddha helps us to recognize well, this is just the feeling of goodness, or this is just the feeling of badness. This is the feeling of liking. This is the feeling of disliking. So we can train our minds to see things with a bit more space around them. We can learn to know our moods instead of following our moods. เข้าใจไหม? Do อารมณ์ไม่ใช่ตามอารมณ์ Do อารมณ์ไม่ตามอารมณ์ So it's so easy for us, and in our culture here in the USA, I live in England. I was born in England. I live there. So you can tell by my accent probably. But I did live here a long time, so in the USA. So I am familiar with American culture, and in the West, it's say a very strong force within our families, within the workplace, within the society, to follow your moods and to be, say, driven by those forces of liking and disliking, approving, disapproving, comfort and discomfort. And so one of the most wonderful and powerful things that we can receive from the Buddha is that when we dislike something, we don't have to hate it. We don't have to fight against it. We can recognize, like, this is a bitter taste. If you don't like a bitter flavor, if you don't like bitterness, you say, oh, this is a bitter flavor. You don't have to hate bitterness. You don't have to think it's wrong or bad. It's bitter. You don't have to pretend that you like it, but it's just bitter. It's just a flavor. Then rot chuche. It's just a flavor. Sweetness, we don't have to call that good. We don't have to try and get more and more of it if we like sweetness. But rather to know, oh, this is a sweet taste. That's all. We can like it without chasing after it, without feeling we've got to get more, got to keep it. Yeah, and I haven't got enough yet. I've got to get more of this. We can recognize this is a sweet taste. This is a pleasant feeling. This is sunok, sabai. You feel comfortable. You feel happy. But when we recognize this is a mood, this is a happy mood, a sweet mood, when we learn to not cling to that, not grasp that, or try to own it, or get more of it, and follow that impulse to chase after it, then strangely enough we can enjoy it even more when we're not trying to get more of it. A few years ago, when I at Wat Amaravati in England, I live at the Wat Amaravati in southern England, a woman told me a story about going on holiday with her family. And she said she has a husband and her 3 children, and they would go to different places in Europe for their summer holidays. And she said, we found this perfect village on the Greek island. And the hotel was just right by the water, and the kids had a great beach to play on, and the people at the hotel were so friendly, and the food was really delicious, and weather was great. But the problem was that they wouldn't take any bookings for the next year. So I spent 10 days at that hotel worrying that we wouldn't be able to get there next year. So I couldn't enjoy this holiday because I was trying to get the next one. And she could talk about it. She was kind of laughing at her, kind of laughing and crying. She was laughing and crying like, I'm so stupid. I ruined my holiday by trying to make sure I could have it next year as well. So there's something wrong with it. There's something wrong with this picture, right? So when we are able to know those moods, those feelings as they are, without clinging onto them, chasing after and trying to own the ones that we like, or pushing away, or fighting against, resenting the ones that we don't like, then we find there is much more space in our heart, in our chitjai. We are able to respond rather than react. Now, I realize English is not the first language of most people here, but those are 2 very different things. To react is mamisati. There's no mindfulness. You like, you take hold. You dislike, you push away. That's reaction. To respond means there is a bit of mindfulness and wisdom. That to respond means, I really didn't like that, did I? What do I do with this? Here's a difficult person who's being rude to me, or someone's just sent me a message that really upsets me. What's the best way to respond? This is exactly what I didn't want to hear from this friend of mine. So to respond is to take things into the heart, to review them, to look at them, to feel them with sati panya, with mindfulness and wisdom, and then to let that wisdom, that's mindfulness and wisdom, be the source, the origin, the hate, the root of our of the way we reply. We say something, we don't say something, we do something, or we don't do something. So this is when we learn how to respond rather than react. Maybe Ajahn Yaniko's got the time for those words. Reach for your
react, patisate, or something.
Anyway, you can think about it.
Okay.
So when we learn to respond rather than react, life is a lot more pleasant. A lot. Doesn't mean that everything that we experience we will enjoy. If you have an illness, you can't move around so easily. You can't speak so well. You've injured your leg or your hand. You have things that are difficult, that are uncomfortable. You don't like them, but you don't have to turn them into a problem. You don't have to create suffering, you don't have to create a problem out of them. So when we are able to respond rather than react, life is very comfortable, even with things that are uncomfortable, if you understand that. Even when there are things that we don't like. Someone in the family has a big problem, our teenage children are fighting with us, or our grown-up children are fighting with us, or our partner, our husband, our wife, if there's a there is a conflict in the family or in the workplace, then we find it's much easier to work with those situations. And when things are good, when they are comfortable and pleasant, we don't we don't take that for granted. That Luang Por Chah would often say, it's not good for a monastery to be too comfortable because the monks all fall asleep and get lazy. So he'd like to keep Wat Pah Pong somewhat uncomfortable. It keeps everyone awake. And so that when things are good or pleasant, your business is successful, you're happy in the family and relationships, everything is easy, then it's not uncommon. It's ordinary for us to take that for granted. We go to sleep at the wheel, as they say. We become, say, unaware, unattentive. We're not mindful. But if we develop our practice, if we cultivate the skill of mindfulness and wisdom, we develop meditation, then when things are good and pleasant, then we don't get carried away by that. We don't fall asleep at the wheel. We recognize, well, this is really delightful. This is exactly what I would have chosen. This is not going to last forever, but I enjoy it today. Right now, things are pleasant, they're sweet, they are delightful, and let's not take that for granted. You understand things in the terms of the nature, the way they are. So that things when they are pleasant and good, we don't get drunk on that, we don't get carried away with that, we don't assume it's going to be like this forever. Oh, now I understand it, now I've got it together, it'll be downhill from here on, easy. As we say in England, easy peasy. But so if we have sati panya, if there's mindfulness and wisdom, we don't see things in that way. We know, okay, at the moment this is a sweet feeling. This is a quality of samagi, of sanuk sanan. It's delightful, it's pleasant, it's easy. But we know tomorrow, my nair. Later today, my nair. And then that way we are able to really enjoy the things that are good and sweet and pleasant, without that turning into a cause for being a problem in the future. So if we are, taking our connection to Abhayagiri seriously, if this is something very important to us, then I would suggest that along with coming and making these very important, very helpful material offerings, cloth to make robes with, and the funds, the money to help put up new buildings or look after the buildings that are here already, and take care of the many expenses, that you take the opportunity to develop this Patipati Puja, the offering, making the devotional offering of your practice. When you take the precepts, when you are cultivating satipanya, mindfulness and wisdom, that's something that is of great benefit, a great blessing, and you can see the blessing of that in your life, here and now, each day. When somebody in your family gets upset with you, and you feel that they're shouting at you, and you feel intimidated, then if you have satipanya at that moment, then I love this person, they're shouting at me. What do I do with this one? So you're paying attention, you care, but you're not reacting. You're just giving a little bit of extra space. And then with that bit of extra space, that kind of satipanya, then you find that you are able to more easily speak the words that are going to be helpful. You're able to look after that person, relate to that person who's shouting at you, your son or your daughter or your husband or the next door neighbor, that you're able to respond in a way that is most helpful for you and for others. And then you can see the result. Oh, that went really well. The effect of that is peacefulness, is ease, is a kind of samajai, comfort and a contentment in our own heart. So I offer these words for consideration today. I'm sorry I cannot say the same thing in Pasathai, but I am very rusty singing Pasathai Sanin Mark. Anyone?
I have a quick question for Ajahn when he's talking about the mind is powerful thing. So I'm curious, for example, like people try to stop smoking, they cannot do it. And how about hypnosis? Is it the control of the mind? Can you control your mind to be happy?
Depends on the person. Not everybody is the same. If you want to stop smoking and you go to a hypnotist and the hypnotist helps you to stop smoking, great. If it works, it's the right thing, I would say. So there are many different upaya, different skillful means that we can use. But it's important to understand everyone is different. So that the Buddha recognized that people have different characters, different abilities to learn. Just like anyone who's a school teacher, some of the children learn quickly, some of them learn slowly, some of them learn the mathematics slowly, but they're really good artists. Other ones are really good with words, but they can't draw a house. So everyone has a different character, different disposition. So you can't. Do you know the word generalize? It's not the same for everyone. Everyone is different. So that a really skilled teacher, like Luang Por Chah or the Buddha himself, is a kind of perfect example. Incredibly skilled at giving teachings that are suited, that are a perfect fit for different people. So if he's talking to a farmer, he'd use language about farming. If he's talking to a mother, he'd talk about looking after children. If he's talking to a doctor, he'd talk about medicine. If he's talking to a Brahmin who has a practice of ritual bathing, he'd talk about water in different states. So that you can't generalize what's going to be useful for different people. So the most helpful thing, try different things out, see what works. If it works, then follow it. So you're asking about how do you know if you're heading in the right direction?
Yeah, like Ajahn say, Manut, we human, we are all adapt, มีความสามารถเปลี่ยน but how to find a way to change, how to...
Well, one of the things is like he was telling the story about the woodpeckers. For those of you who are wondering, the acorn woodpeckers that were storing their acorns in the wall space in the little shed that we had kind of in this area the grounds when we first came here. When we took down that building, there was this avalanche of old acorns when they took the wall boards off, and the acorn woodpeckers have been putting the acorns in for years and years and years, but the acorns are just dropping down into the wall space, so the woodpeckers couldn't get to the acorns they were storing. They were not contemplating the results of their actions. So what Ajahn Yannika was saying is that because they don't have much wisdom, they couldn't figure out, I'm doing all this work, I'm storing all these acorns, but I can't get to them. Okay, store more acorns. And how one of the things, is that correct? So that one of the things in our lives that is most important is looking at the results of what we're doing. Often we have an intention, we think, I want to do this and I'm doing it to get that result. So we put a lot of energy into what we're doing and how we want to do it, but we don't often look at the results of what we've done. So that sense of Kajame? So looking at the pond, the effect of what you're doing, so that you can go to work really hard, you're building a business, and think, I'm doing a good thing, I've got a business, the business is doing well. But then to reflect on what's the result of that. Okay, I'm working really hard, we're making some money, am I happy? I'm working 18 hours a day, I've got no time for my family, when I have time for them I'm shouting at them. Or I'm stressed. This is the result, that's the cause, this is the result. I'm just making that up, I don't know about your life, obviously. But so you're looking at the results of the choices that you have made. So that's the pijarana, investigating, okay, I've been doing this, I had this intention, what's the result? Is it making me happy? What's the effect on my family, or on my physical health, my mental health? What are the results? So that looking at the results of the choices that we make is really important. And that's if we use the practice of Dhamma to pijarana, to investigate in that way, then we can recognize a lot earlier, is this working? Okay, I'm making some money, but I'm really stressed. Or people, what I'm doing, people praise me for this, they really like the work that I do, but I don't really care about this. I'm good at this job, but I'm just kind of doing it because I got this job 20 years ago. I don't really care about it. Again, I'm not reading your mind, just making up, these are the kind of things that easily happen for people. So just that turning the attention around and say, okay, is this really making me happy? What's the result of this? Other people say it's good. How do I feel about it? Is there something else I could be doing with my time, my energy? Is there a different way I could be relating to the work that I do, or how I connect with my family, or the monastery, or the people that I live with and work with? So that is a really very important skill, that kind of pijarana, to investigate. And Luang Por Chah's style of teaching was very much around that, in Bahasa Bali, lewa yoniso manasikan, a kind of investigation, pijarana, tamavichai. So that, what's going on here? How do I feel about this? What's the result of this? People tell me this is good. What do I feel about it? Or like other people aren't interested in this, but this is really satisfying and good to me. So just because other people don't like it, does it mean I should stop? How do I relate to this? So you're using your ability to look, to explore, and to investigate, and then that gives you the message of how to live skillfully, where you can best put your time, your energy. So I don't know if that helps.
That helps.
So pijarana is very easy for us to have a plan, follow it, and then never look to see where we're going. Like you can drive with great dedication for many miles down the wrong road. So like read the signs. If you're trying to get to Abhayagiri and the signs say Sacramento, wrong direction. nothing wrong with Sacramento, but it's like, you want to get to Ukiah, if the signs are saying Sacramento, 15 miles, you took a wrong road. And so read the signs and then respond to the signs.
You get a detour.
Take a detour, yes. As I say, there's an old Native American saying, which is, no matter how far you've gone down the wrong road, when you find out, turn back. That's wisdom.
Good question.
That's very helpful.